Greetings everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Thank you again so much for tuning in. I'm Simmer Chase, and today is episode number 55 of our speed builds. Oh my gosh, we have made it now to 55 episodes. Yeah, so I've learned a lot, I've grown a lot, and I hope you have too. I am so grateful that you guys are tuning in. And today is a very special historic episode. Yes, I'm so excited. So this one is fun because it's actually the Lincoln Memorial. Yeah, so I actually got a fan request on Twitter, which I will gladly do. If it sounds like a cool idea or something up my alley, I will absolutely take on the challenge regardless of what it is, to make it as realistic and simplified as possible. So with this one, it's cool because the Lincoln Memorial, I have it, but then of course I need to make it like a Sims approved lot, so it's gonna have to have like bathrooms, that kind of thing. So what I did is I made like a plaza, I did the whole reflection pond, but what I did is I made the reflection pond like, because unfortunately we don't have like, ideally I would be able to have like to make it true to sort of a scale, I would have the lot even maybe go all the way to 96 tiles or 84 tiles, just so that I can make the reflection pond a very long. However, I couldn't do that here, so it's got kind of the very same scale of width, but then of course I couldn't go all the way deep with it like I wanted to. But it's got the geese, it's got all the cool like cute little stuff from cottage living now, and I think that it made a lot of sense now at this point to do it because we have the cherry blossom trees. We've got a whole mess of other stuff that is just iconic to Washington DC, the monument, and the greater plaza of the Lincoln Memorial and the reflection pool, and then all the way over to the Washington Monument. So I hope you guys enjoy it. If you haven't yet, please like and subscribe in the links below. And as always, I'm Simmer Chase, and everybody stay proud. Go out and do something magical, and let's go ahead and dive into this historic build now. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Yes, so we are gonna take a very short trip through history and memory lane. So what I'm doing first is kind of giving you the heads up and little bit of peek at how it all was when it all finished in The Sims. And then we'll also talk about how it all began. So actually, did you guys know that I have some facts pulled up about it? And I'm so excited. So the building was actually built out of 122 solid poured concrete piers. And it was actually built with a sub-basement and then a basement as well. And originally, the funny thing about it was with the Lincoln Memorial, that when the building finally was finished, they realized that the structure and actual Lincoln Memorial were off scale. So the actual Lincoln statue was going to be half the size of what it is today. So it would have looked very, 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 very tiny in the building. And it would have been very, you know, just not quite iconic like it is now. You would have kind of been more like looking at a Ronald McDonald kind of restaurant sort of statue kind of situation. So it's really neat. And what's really actually really cool about this is that it really served a great point in our history because it showed that together countries and the cities and the states can all come together to really make something happen. So back in 1914 is actually where a lot of this began, and they actually put the foundation in February 1914. So it would have been frigid cold back in that day, and it would have just been insane. So they ended up coming in, just putting in everything, and then what they did first is just sort of build the structure as I am actually, where they first built like the main piece of it, and then they built around it, and then they brought in Lincoln later and then added him in. And so it was really neat because actually with this, it took them like a year and a half, it looks like, May 1915. They actually came in and got like the foundation and stuff done. But then World War One happened, so then they had to take a pause, but they didn't completely stop. They just kind of scaled way back on construction. So then in 1918 was when they decided to go ahead and double the size of Lincoln because they started getting everything in place. They're like, oh, this is little. And then from there, it's really neat. And I'll tell you guys, but basically the terrace walls and lower steps are actually granite blocks from Massachusetts. The upper steps, the outside facade and columns are marble. Yes, marble from Colorado. And then the interior walls and columns are Indiana limestone. Yes. So that's why I made the interior look like that in the Sims replication as well. So you'll see that come together. And as we all know, it's a super big deal, but basically the Lincoln Memorial looks great and all the memorials look great day and night. So you're going to see me pop in here in the game and just pop in tons and tons of lighting as things progress. And I'm also looking at the aerials of the site, and I saw that they have like this brickwork or like this, they have like poured concrete as part of the sidewalk, and then they have these sort of like areas of just like other materials to give it some character, especially when you look at it from like from an aerial, which I'm sure is extensive. There's probably a lot of those. So I was like, I really, really want to make sure, no matter what, that I have that opportunity to come in here and make it feel that way. And as close to real life, it's possible. So we will see. And I would love any sort of feedback, comments you guys have about it. And any ways that I can, any other suggestions or ways that you can see me like take to an even another level of my skill, I would love. So if you have any suggestions, feedback, comments, I love to hear them. Any and every way and everywhere. Okay, so basically from that, when it's the Indiana, which is where I'm from, so some of my own backyard very well is in the interior of the Lincoln Memorial. Yes. Oh, yeah. Then we have the pink Tennessee limestone that makes up the floor of the interior. And we have the Georgia marble, which is actually the makings of the Lincoln statue. So it's carved marble. And then it may seem, obviously very random, but again, it's all about just showing that we can all come together to create something, and you can bring a lot of sources together to create something for the benefit of everyone. So it's really exciting that that's kind of what Lincoln did, and then they kind of wanted to tell that story again when they created that monument for him. And the actual monument, unfortunately, doesn't have as much greenery and landscaping around it as I would like to see. It's mostly just grass and then a lot of, like concrete and just like walkways and stuff. But then there's not a lot there, except maybe if it's like a political event or like a presidential event, then they'll come in and they'll do they'll do like vendors, or they'll have like the media and stuff set up, so then it's busy. But other than that, it's not. But in The Sims, I'm like, oh, that's a missed opportunity. Like, it's great. It's nice to look at just that empty space, but I want to do more with it and show like an opportunity of what we could really do with the monuments we have, so we can continue appreciating them now and in the future, and that they really serve a lot of use for all the generations going forward. And they all really kind of see the value and what it is to have. So obviously we don't have a Lincoln in The Sims, so I just kind of went with the statue guy that we have, and then made him to scale of, and made everything to scale of what it is based on Lincoln and the statue itself. So you're seeing me just kind of peek around a little bit and just check on everything. And then at this point, I'm kind of looking around and seeing the opportunity to like make it Simsified. So you're seeing me like toggle in between the lighting now. You can see evening time. and just sort of how everything reacts together. And for me, it's a very big deal to be able to kind of have everything look as lifelike as possible when I'm really trying to shoot for that goal. And so you're seeing me, like, again, toggle through everything just so that you can double check and see, like, how, like, sort of lifelike it is and what I need to do to keep going. So it's just sort of the preview. And then from here, you're actually going to see it move then on into the visitor center, because I felt like we really needed some concessions, a visitor center, a library even, and just give it some good Sims functions. So that's really what we have here beyond just the monument, so that it does have a lot more use than just being, you know, a park and a monument. You can actually go and visit with friends, go on a date, pretty much everything you could at the real life one if it was really busy and it wasn't during the time that we're having now. So from there, it's just really neat to see how the everything just kind of came together. And then it was in the 1921, all the roadways were built to get around it. And then in December 1919, January 1920, it was assembled and completed for the actual statue of Lincoln. So before that, they had the building constructed, and then they assembled the entire 2 months between December of 1919 and January of 1920 to assemble Lincoln and have him in the memorial. So this phrase I've added on is basically just Simlish, but I will tell you what it means in real life in a moment. Yes. So it is, I will tell you here, just a moment. History and culture. So I am so stoked just to kind of have the opportunity to build something that has such historical value to the United States, but then also I feel like in a way we're kind of getting back to where, like, it really has value again, and like for a whole new purpose and meaning for folks, and just how important it is that we really save our historic structures, but then also think about how we can really make them work for modern era, because our tax money goes to pay for these. And so it's really good that we have the opportunity to, like, you know, not really reimagine them, but just sort of utilize them and really get the most value out of having them. So the site, for instance, is 110 acres. So I tried to shorten that down as much as I could. 76 million pounds. Okay, yeah. 38,000 tons or 67 million pounds. That's what we're dealing with for the size of the structure. So it's insane. It's crazy. And I am just shocked. I am so shocked about, like, and almost shook, really, like, at how heavy that is. But it's all mostly, like I said, marble, stone, which, you know, will last a long time unless we kind of let things go to the wayside. Let's see here. And then ceiling beams, copper alloy to form bronze and or brass. The murals are oil paint mixed with white wax and kerosene applied to canvas. Wow. And then it's got just antique frigé. It's got the domic columns. The upper steps are Yule marble. It's just absolutely a great work of art. The pedestal alone here is 10 feet by 16 feet by 17 deep. That's huge. Just for it. Oh, and then also, I will tell you, the total cost was over $3 million back then. So that's probably like 50 million plus now, like, at least. I cannot believe that. And in our game here, I'm actually building out the plaza and just sort of adding the Simsified elements to it so that you could definitely use it for a date. You could use it for a park, and really just sort of enjoy the monument itself, but then also enjoy the actual function that it has and what it's really intended for, I think. But times have changed, and not many rallies or not really many things happen out there anymore. But when they do, it's really big, and eventually vendors will show up and that kind of stuff too with the crowds. And so I just kind of want to give it that very neat, like, welcoming vibe that it's just welcoming to everybody, and very busy and active. And you're going to see me come in with just a lot of lighting still, because when I kept looking at this, I was like, it needs to be brighter, 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 brighter. So the dedication ceremony happened on May 30th of 1922. The cornerstone was laid in February 12th of 1915, and they broke ground on February the 2nd, 1914. So 1 year after they broke ground, they were doing the cornerstone laying, and then it then took several more years for them to do the dedication because of the war, and then having to put together Lincoln, and then having to have him doubled in size because he was too little for that area. And then let's see here, they have all kinds of interesting things going on their website too. I definitely recommend you check it out if you haven't yet. It's very inspiring and very interesting to see how well they really thought about it, and how they're afraid really of Lincoln sort of getting lost in his own building, so then that's why they doubled the size of it. And then there's all these really neat, once a roof was in place, decorative murals were painted on the tops of the south and north walls, and the Gettysburg Address, of course. And then the second inaugural were carved in the stone beneath the paintings. They really did a lot to really sort of commemorate him. And it's neat because they now like use it for political stuff too. So I put the podium, that kind of thing, out here so you could do rallies like what happened in real life. You could definitely do them out here to an extent in The Sims, and I think you guys will really enjoy that as well. Okay, and then it looks like here we have all kinds of fun stuff on their website. So the official website is nps.gov/LINC. So that will get you to their website, and you can check around, kind of see how it is, what it's like, and kind of gauge a little bit how close I got on this. But when I look at it, I just, like, all the graphics, all the photos, everything like that, I just see all of these, like, really very opulent areas behind it. And I just really, really, really enjoy how no matter what, there's just a lot to really look at and do in this version as well, which I think is what really helps it with the other one. And then, okay, now I am coming together with just the last little elements here of the yard. And then also I thought about some of the trees and how it makes sense to have them around a fence, and that I wanted to give them sort of like a embedded look, or like a flower bed sort of look as well. So I have that too. And then we also have all this other stuff. It's so neat just being able to use the whole bottom, the subfloor, because that is pretty much would be filled with concrete, and it's probably got like a catacombs thing that's got storage and stuff underneath the building. And then I noticed there's like a little door in the screenshots and of the photos I've seen of the building, so I assume that's for like groundskeeping sort of stuff as well. But I went ahead and made it something just different, but I didn't want to alter the actual monument or anything. So what I did is I actually came in here and brought out the pathway from the rooms from the visitor center. So then you go into the visitor center to get under the building, and so then you don't have to actually go up in and through the actual monument. So you can't go from there. You actually have to go up and underneath it, like it would be in real life. If they ever did something like that, it would definitely, obviously, not be altering that. It would be underneath it. But it's such a big, heavy building that that'd be, like, impossible, really, to do, like, a sub-basement underneath it if there's not already one. Because it's just heavy. Let's see here. So now I'm doing all this other stuff outside. I thought of all the vendors and stuff that would be really fun, too, to add. And to just give it a lot more extra detail in here in the game as well. So you're just seeing me add in a lot of detail now. I'm doing the little hallway community area, and then here you're seeing the library and sort of the maker space come together on here. And then there's like a little stage area thing too that I put together, so if there's like performance pieces done, you could definitely enjoy that as well. So that's in here coming in. And then I just felt like it was pretty dark, so I did a lot of like these floodlights, things like that as well, just to give it some extra light and make it not feel so dark and like ominous down there in the deep. And then also to kind of allow you the opportunity to, you know, do some really fun crafts or go and do something really crazy as well down here. So we have all kinds of funny stuff that would be like really comical, because oh yeah, I guess they would have done that back in the day, like play chess or maybe have some sort of at-home brew kit, because like that was like the Wild West back in the day of like alcohol and creating things, you know, and just sort of like really pushing the envelope on stuff to see what was possible. And a lot of that's very inspiring to me, and I really like it a lot. And now I'm coming around here to the last little bits of the library, so you guys can see how this comes together. And it's just a lot of like multiple items, I guess you could say, in here, because I just wanted to be able to create a lot of room so that regardless if there were like 5 Sims at this lot or 50, you could do a lot of stuff and really have the use in the space. And I kept trying to work on some things of like, maybe here, put this or put that. And then I was just kind of messing around with my space a little bit. And I was like, I want to stay within the footprint to keep it more realistic. And then also so I don't mess up any of my ground like and landscaping outside. So I just went with basically the footprint that was of the building. And then right underneath the plaza that was before it got to the reflection pool. So I was also giving it like that sort of old-timey look too, because that's really going back 100 years, 102 years now. So I think it's just so important that like every little bit of it is like really emulated as best I could here. And if I could have, I would have been able to do more like murals, stuff like that on the inside. But the murals, none of them really like, and I don't want to use CC, so like none of them really like meshed well. So that was a kind of bummer for me, is that I just couldn't find any that really made sense. And then the reflection pool, actually, as I'm seeing here, was dedicated in 1922 for like the building, and then the reflection pool was then put in right after. And then the only thing that they were needing to work on was just completing the pool and then the lighting and stuff, because that came a little bit later because of like technology, and then also just of how they're like, oh, this would be like even better, this would be even better, this would do one better. So really, even like now, literally all the roadways, walkways, and everything would be 100 years old from then. I'm sorry, my dogs are like here in the background too. It's like frustrating a little bit. Even to get 30 minutes away from like them barking is intense. So now I'm coming through here and getting like the little manager's room done, and just kind of bringing in all of the other little bits of decor and pieces of everything for the monument, and to make sure that it's manageable and that it's right on target. So I'm like giving it another spin around so you guys can really see what it looks like. it's pretty much come together at this point now. So I am just doing my quick spin arounds, look around, double check everything here before I'm like, yep, we are good here, looks like. So now we're just going to do a breeze by and check out everything and how it all came together. So you can get like a little mini tour here. I love the reflections. They're amazing. Like, there's nothing better than the reflections that they've been able to pull off in the water. And it's just something that I was not expecting at all. So it's been really neat to get to see that kind of work out. And now we're looking at the Lincoln, you know, and then kind of spinning around the room a little bit. And then we're going to take a breeze by on the outside. And I actually have a little bit more we're going to do here. So now you're going to see me come together with the little tour here. So you're going to see the tour, bring in, awesome. So you're going to see this, like, bring us into the actual monument, and then we'll get a look around. I was trying to make her do a couple things, but then it didn't work out because she was, like, steadfast in going down to the library. So we're going to go down and look in the library so you guys can see how that looks and sort of how that all came together. And then we'll come up and breeze around the outside again towards the end of the video here. So you're seeing the locker rooms here because I thought it'd be really important that if it's a government facility like this, that it does have some good uses. So you're going to have the ability to go get a shower and everybody can stay clean in the area if they need to and just sort of like de-germ a little bit. So that area, there's like an upper crust or like an upper layer to this build right here. So that's in there, and you'll see that sort of like in some of these views, but then in others I've kind of got it hidden because I wanted you to focus on like certain other areas. And then also the lighting gets a little off when you start like adding in a lot of extra layers. So I like it being really bright and cheery, and it's really fun that way. So here is our other locker room. This is the guys' locker room, so you can just kind of check this out and see it. And then we had the like outdoor common area that's downstairs, like the public common area here, and then it's got like a little DJ area too that I thought would be really fun to use. And then there was the gals locker room before, and then now we're going into the manager's office that might be like the site manager. And then this moment, like I just kept like, I was just trying to go through the build, and then I kept like getting pummeled with these like, let's sweat. She doesn't actually like fitness, or she does like fitness. Do you want to like fitness? And it's like, just let this go. I just want to look around here. So now we're coming up, and then in a second you'll see what we're looking at here. So right now I like came up and I was like, oh yeah, oops, turn it on. There you go. Now you can see what it looks like going down from the visitor center. So it just goes like right down pretty much into that area. And it's more of just to like get you below ground so that then it can take you over there. Because I didn't want to go too far away from like real reality or like the actual monument itself, because that's really what this is about. But I just want to make sure that like your Sims don't get mad if they need to use a restroom or if they get hungry. And I thought it would just create a lot more value in the Sims for this recreation of Lincoln Memorial. So now we are going across the reflection pool, and you're seeing everybody kind of start to pack up and get ready to go home, as they were originally kind of like going back in time a little bit, as you saw before. And now we are just peeking back around. I just, again, love the reflections. I think it's really come together really well. And it's so smooth. Like, just like how well everything looks clean. And I really enjoyed how I went with this too, because at first I wasn't sure how I'd take on the challenge, but you know, I got asked by a very nice kind fan. There we go again. Let's wet. And so I got asked by a really, really nice, kind subscriber, fan, and they asked me to, maybe make this for them, that they were going to use it for something. And I'm like, cool, I will definitely make you this. And we ended up getting the Lincoln Memorial. She's like, hey, can you do the Lincoln Memorial? And I'm like, absolutely. And then that's when I was like, I don't know how this is going to look. I don't know if it's going to match enough. Can I get all the trims right? I'm going to have to think about platforming heavily because I wanted to make sure I had all the same amount of columns because you need 12 columns on every side. Yeah, you need 12 on every side. I have the rendering like right here pulled up, but yeah, it's 12 on every side. And then there's like everything's very specific on the exact amount because it's more about like how the symbolism of the item is. So they like put 12 for each of the original colonies minus 1 or something. I can't remember what. But it was basically 12 columns around on each side so that they could, it's all about numbers and it's crazy. So I just loved being able to see how like important that was to them and like symmetry and quality. And then it's like the Freemasons did a lot of the building and designed it. And so it's just got a lot of history and then a lot of very strong symbolism in our society. So I was so glad to be able to just put this together for you guys, and here is how it looks like day and night. I really love the screenshots and how they came out and just sort of how everything sort of like unfolded with this build, and I've just been so happy to come back and get this one done too. So we have many more builds coming, and I am so grateful for you tuning in and checking out the recreation that I did of the Lincoln Memorial. And so if you haven't yet, please like and subscribe. And as always, I'm Simmer Chase, and thank you again so much for tuning in. And I will catch you guys later, and I hope you get some enjoyment out of the Lincoln Memorial build that I did, and the plaza, the reflection pool. I think a lot of really great dates and screenshots are possible. Have a great day. Thank you, and stay proud.